There's a cheese so dangerous that Guinness World Records gave it an official title, so illegal that selling it can get you fined across the entire European Union, and so alive that experienced eaters shield their eyes before taking a bite. And in Sardinia, people pay double the price of regular cheese just to get it on the black market. That's only the first cheese on this list. By the end, you'll meet a cheese made by mites, a cheese worth more than silver, and one that literally shut down a highway for days. Let's start with the famous one. Casu marzu, which translates roughly to rotten cheese, begins life as an ordinary Sardinian pecorino. Then cheesemakers do something that sounds like a mistake. They cut open the rind and leave the wheel outside, inviting a fly called Milbenkäse to lay its eggs inside. The eggs hatch, and thousands of larvae start eating their way through the cheese. Their digestion breaks down the fats and transforms the hard pecorino into something soft, creamy, and ferociously strong, often compared to an intense gorgonzola with a peppery burn. Here's the part nobody forgets. The cheese is traditionally eaten while the maggots are still alive and wriggling. Disturbed larvae can launch themselves several centimeters into the air, which is why locals sometimes cover their eyes while eating. It's banned from sale in Italy, the EU, and the United States. Yet an estimated 100 tons of it are still made every year, traded quietly between Sardinian shepherds and the people who know who to ask. If you thought insects in cheese was a one-off, meet Milbenkäse from the tiny German village of Auschwitz. Instead of maggots, this one uses cheese mites. Fresh cork is sealed into a wooden box filled with mites and rye flour, and for months the mites graze on the surface. The enzymes in their digestive juices slowly ripen the cheese from the outside in, turning the rind amber and eventually nearly black. The mites stay on. You eat them with the cheese. The village is so proud of this tradition that it has honored the humble cheese mite with its own monument. Now for the most expensive cheese on earth. It's called Pule, and it comes from a single nature reserve in Serbia, made from the milk of endangered Balkan donkeys. Here's why it costs around €1,000 or more per kilo. A donkey gives only a fraction of the milk a dairy cow does, and it takes roughly 25 liters of it, milked by hand, to make 1 kilogram of cheese. At those prices, gram for gram, you're in precious metal territory for cheese. Sweden answers with something almost as rare: moose cheese. Nearly all of it comes from one farm called the Moose House, where 3 moose are milked during their short lactation season from May to September. Milking a moose is slow, patient work, and the entire world's supply depends on a handful of animals, which is why a kilo can cost as much as a decent used car payment. Then there's the cheese that caught fire. Brunost, Norway's beloved brown cheese, isn't technically cheese at all. It's whey, milk, and cream boiled down until the milk sugars caramelize into a sweet, fudge-like brown block. All that concentrated sugar and fat makes it surprisingly flammable. In January 2013, a truck hauling 27 tons of Brunost caught fire inside a Norwegian tunnel, and the load burned so hot and so long that the fire raged for days, and the tunnel stayed closed for weeks of repairs. A national breakfast staple, and apparently also industrial-grade fuel. France naturally owns the smell category. Vieux Boulogne, a soft cheese from the northern coast washed in beer, was crowned the smelliest cheese in the world by scientists who tested dozens of cheeses with both human sniffers and an electronic nose. Its cousin Époisses is so famously pungent that the story goes it's unwelcome on French public transport. The strange part? The taste is far gentler than the smell. The stink lives in the rind, made by the same family of bacteria that gives feet their odor. And finally, the everyday weirdo hiding in your supermarket. Halloumi, the cheese that squeaks. That rubbery squeak against your teeth isn't a gimmick. Halloumi is made without acid-producing cultures, so its calcium-reinforced protein network stays tight and springy, and the squeak is literally the protein structure rubbing against your tooth enamel. It's also why halloumi holds its shape on a grill instead of melting. So that's cheese made by maggots, cheese made by mites, cheese worth its weight in silver, and cheese that burns like rocket fuel. Same basic recipe, milk, thyme, and microbes, 8 completely different stories. If this made you look at the dairy aisle differently, subscribe, because tomorrow's food has an even stranger secret. And tell me in the comments, which of these would you actually try?